Carousel House Design Team. Good evening and thank you for attending tonight's Carousel House meeting. My name is Donna Griffin with Community Capacity Builders. I use the pronouns she, her. I'm an African-American woman with curly dark hair and I'm wearing red eyeglasses.
How clear is that? Clear.
I want to invite you to please introduce yourself in the chat by sharing your name and favorite rec center activity. Again, please introduce yourself in the chat by sharing your name and favorite rec center activity.
Closed captioning has been enabled.
Give you a few minutes to do so. And I also just want to ask folks to mute their microphones, if you would. Thank you so much. We'll be right with you. All right, let's get started with an overview of tonight's agenda. So we'll include a brief reintroduction about the Carousel House rebuild project this evening, and we'll also share the project timeline and what we've learned so far from existing Carousel House users and other stakeholders in previous public meetings. A design process update will be offered with additional insight about reaching the vision for the new Carousel House. And as always, we'll make time for questions and answers and share next steps. Typically, we set aside 2 hours for our rebuild public meetings. However, tonight's meeting should take no more than an hour, since it is simply intended to present you with an update on what the Carousel House team has been up to, where we are now, and next steps. It's our way of upholding our commitment to keep the Carousel House users, supporters, and the surrounding community informed as the rebuild project moves forward. Something tells me you won't mind that we're giving you back an hour this evening. Before we get started, just want to review a few housekeeping items. For tonight's meeting, the ground rules are that you keep your microphone muted during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, you may unmute and speak to share your thoughts and questions. Feel free to use the chat to ask questions and share ideas throughout the meeting. Your mute button is located on the lower left-hand side of your screen, and the chat button is in the middle of the screen on the lower bar. All right, so now that you know the ground rules, let's get started. with a few words from Kira Strong, Rebuild's Executive Director.
Thank you, Donna. Hi, this is Kira Strong. I use she, her pronouns. I am a tall woman with brown hair. And most importantly, I am really pleased to be here tonight. So thank you to all of you who have taken the time out of your busy schedules to come here and update on Rebuild. We're excited to share our updates and progress with you tonight. So with that, I'd like to hand it to Amanda Cologne-Smith, our Director of Community Engagement.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Cologne-Smith. I am the Community Engagement Director for Rebuild. I use she, her, ella as my pronouns. I'm African-American woman with locks. Just going to do a quick recap for anyone who is maybe their first meeting. But then we'll be able to dive into the depths for our update. Next slide. The project focus. So on the screen is a satellite image of the Carousel House Rebuild project. The scope is outlined in blue. So that kind of tells you the parameters of where we're working. This includes the gym in the existing building, the pool, the existing site features such as the playground, parking, and the garden and the farm. Next slide. The project goals. We want to just reiterate for anyone who is not participated that the project will seek to create a better facility for all, and that this project, this project, when completed, will retain all of the former programming and be inclusive for all participants. Rebuild in our process with all of our sites, including Carousel, commit to acknowledge the history of the communities that have used it, to engage the community in the design process and the vision for the future, and to ensure that investment is done intentionally with really rigorous goals on minority contracting and workforce participation. Next slide. I'm going to pass this back to CCB to continue with introducing, I want to introduce our team. You've got me, Amanda Cologne-Smith, Heather McLean is our Community Engagement Manager, and Cara Meadow, Senior Design and Construction Project Manager. And now I'm going to pass it. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a mess. And now I'm going to pass it to Jules with the Jigsaw team.
Just trying to add the spotlight feature here. Maybe it's already happened. I'm Jules Dingle. I'm a white male, use he, him pronouns. I have short gray hair and these funny little tiny reader glasses that allow me to see the screen tonight. And I'm joined by Sarah Curry, who is also from the design team. Other members of the design team listed below. You've met some of them in previous engagement sessions. And I'll be speaking about our process a bit later in the presentation.
Hi, and I'm Donna Griffin again. Would like to introduce you to the Community Capacity Builders team. You've already met me and Jenny Chen, who you will actually hear from in a few minutes, and then Marangeli Mayhow Rebel. She will also be sharing her screen with you a little bit later during the Q&A. Thank you. I think it's my turn to turn it over to Jenny.
Thanks, Donna. Kara is going to share the rebuild timeline now.
Thanks, Jenny. Again, my name is Cara Meadow. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a white woman with dark hair wearing a yellow shirt. I'm a senior design and construction project manager with Rebuild, and I'm managing the Carousel House project as well as other Rebuild projects. An anticipated timeline for the Carousel House project is shown here on this slide. Design phases are on the left in the colored boxes, and engagement touch points are shown on the right with bullets. As indicated, we are in the "we are here" circle. Our team is currently in the concept design phase. Since our last meeting in February this year, we have been actively exploring concepts, which our design team will touch on later in this presentation. We expect to move into schematic design later this year, which we anticipate will take 6 months, with more refined design development next year, anticipated to take 4 months, and construction documentation and construction bidding to occur later in 2023, early in 2024. We hope that construction will begin in 2024 and that the facility will open in 2025. We say this all to acknowledge that capital projects are often multi-year projects, and this is one of the largest rebuild investments. To do this right, it will take a total of 3 to 4 years. It's important to note again, this is a very large rebuild project. It involves many internal city stakeholders and external partners, and requires time to facilitate conversations and allow the team to work and coordinate across all areas of the project. Ensuring the design meets and exceeds accessibility standards and can serve both old and new user groups means taking our time for an intentional and well-crafted design process. We recognize that engagement is critical on a project like this, and we are committed to providing ample time for the design team to work in feedback loops to accommodate engagement findings to meet project needs. As shown on the slide, at each step of design, we will continue to keep the community informed and involved. And on that note, I will pass the mic back to Jenny, who will share the Carousel community engagement process milestones.
Thanks, Kara. Hey everyone, my name again is Jenny. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an Asian American woman in my late 20s. Oh no, I'm 30 now with glasses. And I'm here tonight with community capacity builders. So as Kara mentioned, engagement is a critical part of this project. So to the right of this timeline, you can see the engagement activities that we've already conducted or that we're planning to host in order to bring together you all, Carousel's participants, service providers, residents, and others to share their ideas and give really important input on this design. So far, we've been able to host calls with different stakeholder groups and leaders in the Carousel House community. We've hosted meet and greets and design workshops to understand your priorities for the new facility. And as we continue to move forward with the draft and final design phases, we'll be hosting meetings like this one, as well as workshops and focus groups to make sure that there are a lot of opportunities to be involved in the decisions about the future building. During the construction period, we're going to talk about stewardship and programming. And then as construction starts and the facility reopens, we'll bring you all together to celebrate this really critical project. Throughout this process, we'll be sharing regular updates as well. So many of you are on our newsletter list. If you're not, we'll let you know how to sign up at the end of the meeting. And we've also launched the Carousel House Rebuild Project website this past summer. And we want to encourage you all to visit it for information and also to share your memories of the Carousel House and the surrounding neighborhood. Next slide, please. So I'm also going to speak on the engagement work that we've done so far and what we've heard about the kinds of spaces and programs that community members want to see in this rebuild project. Next slide, please. So we've reached out to more than 1,000 stakeholders via email, phone, door to door, to bring people together for the meet and greet last November and the kickoff design workshop last February. And during the meet and greet, more than 50 people joined us for the virtual and in-person events to learn about the project, meet the team, and share their priorities for how our engagement was going to go. And that really informed the way that we ran our kickoff design workshops, where we got to interact and hear directly from more than 90 people on Zoom and more than 30 people in person. You all shared a ton of valuable ideas and insights about the kinds of spaces and programs that our team has since been working on to incorporate in the design. Next slide. So this project has involved a variety of different stakeholders. This includes the Carousel staff, the advisory council, people who participated or led various activities and athletic leagues, as well as service providers and advocates in the disability community, including the Commission for People with Disabilities, English House, and Carousel Connections. We've also involved Parkside organizations like Centennial Parkside CEC and the Business Association of West Parkside, as well as other neighborhood institutions, residents, and political leaders. Next slide. So what have we learned so far? We got over 400 public comments during the kickoff design workshop. And during that meeting, we showed this diagram that you see on the left, which maps out the community's desired spaces. And we asked you all, what kind of programs do you see happening here? And how could these spaces really be designed for inclusion? And on the right, this is a brief summary of some of the main things we heard, which we wanted to lift up tonight. First, we heard that storage was super key. So for sports chairs, for personal belongings, and for equipment for athletic and arts and education programs. We also learned that the basketball court needed to have enough space for accessible seating and for players to be able to transition between games, particularly if they are wheelchair users. We talked about the new pool, and people were really excited about an indoor pool with a zero entry ramp that could be used for therapy or classes and recreation. And there's a need for spacious and accessible locker rooms and bathrooms, as well as flexible multi-purpose rooms with accessible equipment that can be used for small or large groups that are meeting or doing different activities. There will be space in the new facility to bring back all the former Carousel House programs, and we're working to include these community priorities in our design. Next slide. When it comes to Parks and Rec programming, we found out that stakeholders want to make sure there are adequate Parks and Rec staff at the new facility, including more inclusion ambassadors. And many of you got to meet some of the current ambassadors during our last two in-person meetings. Programs for people with disabilities like wheelchair basketball and rugby, and special events like dances, performances, and art exhibits should return. And there was also a desire for inclusive recreational opportunities and community events that are open to all. After this presentation, we're going to have a Q&A session, and we have folks here from Philly Parks and Rec in case you have any further questions or feedback about programming. And specifically, we've got Patrick Morgan, the first Deputy Commissioner, Bill Salvatore, the Deputy Commissioner for Programs, Grace Cannon, Director of Programs, and Gwen Valad, Director of Inclusion on the call. So I want to say hi in the chat. So for now, I'll pass it to Jules from the Jigsaw team to talk about how their design process so far has been incorporating your feedback and these priorities.
I think I'm unmuted. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, I'm going to talk a bit about the draft design process that Kara previously described, and some of the site background work that we've been doing. The next slide may show some of that. I'm really going to talk about it at a high level, so you don't need to know exactly what those images on the right are, but I'll explain what they are as a way of understanding what the design team has been working on. From a design and experience point of view, we've been examining the site features that are going to shape the new vision for the project. So in particular, strategies for better connecting the new building to the Parkside neighborhoods to the south, being mindful of all of the pedestrian and all forms of vehicular and mass transit circulation. So we think there are ways to really reorient this project to be more inviting to the communities to the south. I think it's also worth noting that there are a number of heritage trees on the site, and we have been working with a horticulturalist to identify the significant and the insignificant trees on the site. And part of the design strategy will look at how some or all of these can be incorporated into the site planning of the building design. Those that have been on the site know that there are some very beautiful and old trees that we think are a great opportunity. From an economics and engineering point of view, we're mapping site strategy scenarios that optimize things that we can reuse. And I think that's important because the more we can reuse things, the more we can put dollars to better use on building the program. So for example, things like paved surfaces on site, if those are things that we can reuse in some capacity, that helps save money for the important building program. Things that are underground, site utilities like water and sanitary lines, electrical services, etc. Those are, we're in the process of mapping all of those so that we can reuse as much as possible, or at least avoid relocating utilities that are underground. Again, really important, because if we want to spend our money above ground. So to the extent that we can be smart about how water and sewer lines and electrical services get to the building, the more program we can provide. Let's see. And then the building itself. We've looked at the existing Carousel House building really with two goals. One, to identify if any parts or materials of that building can be reused or repurposed in any way. And two, to take a critical look at the accessibility program features that were very much ahead of their time in the 1980s, but are now ready for an upgrade for a building that I think we all see as the new vanguard for accessibility, universal design today and in the future. Next slide. And to that end, our consultant team member Karen Breitmeyer, you see here on the right, she is one of the North American leaders in universal design. She's part of our team. She has visited the site, and we've been working with her to research specialized rooms, programs, architectural details that really will elevate this project as a model for universal design. Next slide. And then here's where, it really starts to get exciting. We're starting to enter that iterative process of taking all these findings, all these strategies for maximizing program and potential, and we're testing a variety of layouts. Hopefully next time we meet, we'll show you a few of those layouts. Right now, we're trying to test combinations of program and all of the features that you see on the slide, to the right side of the slide, in an effort to really maximize the program on site. Without a doubt, returning all of the program that was previously on the site in a modernized and much in the best way possible, but also to incorporate as much new program, the things that we've heard in the first two engagement sessions, as possible. With that, I'm going to pass, I believe, back to Amanda. Is that right?
Right, there we go. Thank you, Jules. Hello again. This is Amanda speaking. Go to the next slide. So I'm going to intro about how we are working to achieve this vision. Next slide. Jules and the Jigsaw team have been talking about exploring these different program layouts and budget models. I want to take a step back to the big picture factors that we have to balance with every rebuild project. On one side of the scale, we have community priorities. We're excited to have received a great amount of public feedback already. Each rebuild site has a unique community and a unique vision, and the priorities from this community are already starting to take shape, and these themes are driving the design. We also have to balance, on the other side of the scale, real things like budgets and costs. We are facing strong inflation and continually rising construction costs, so this must be taken into account. We also have to include the essential program needs and spaces on that side of the balance. We have made this commitment to retain all former programming and be inclusive for all. We must ensure that the essential program spaces are defined first before adding on new program areas. And finally, on that side of the scale is urgency. We have time sensitivity to deliver this project quickly and to open the new space for users to enjoy. Time is an important factor that pushes for us to ensure the design is practical and achievable. With this sense of urgency and cost in particular, we know that more funds will help us to achieve the best vision for the new carousel. I'm going to pass the mic to Kira Strong, our Executive Director, to speak more about the funding.
Thank you, Amanda. I remembered to pin this time, I think. This is Kira Strong again. And if we could move to the next slide. Thank you. So what Amanda talked about are real challenges that anybody faces in the city on a capital project. And we certainly are seeing here at Rebuild. We're really, really fortunate that we have $22.5 million for Carousel House. So that's funding that's already secured from our budget. And it actually is one of the highest commitments to a rebuild project in the city. But what we've realized after taking in all of the feedback that you all have given us over the past many months is that there's a vision for a really expanded facility and for a vision that serves, as our team has shared, many folks and is very inclusive, brings back all of the original programming, bigger and better, serves the West and East Parkside communities, and we certainly hear that loud and clear. So what we've been working on and are leaning in towards in these coming months is how do we raise some additional dollars so that we can bring even more to this site? So we're really excited about that. We think we have some really good opportunities. We think we have stakeholders in this city that will be really, I think, quite excited about an investment in such a unique and wonderful facility. So we feel really good about this, and we would like to bring those extra dollars to this site. We do have an opportunity right now, and this is where maybe some of you could help us and lend a hand, which we would be really appreciative of. And next slide, please. We have submitted an application already to the state. We're asking for $10 million through a state grant called RACP for short, or Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program. So we've been fortunate to secure smaller dollars through RACP in past years for other projects. And we feel pretty confident with this really ambitious ask because we have an ambitious vision, thanks to you all, for this facility and this site. But we could use your support. So if you have a moment, and this is a very short timeline, but we figured it was certainly worth the ask. There are some links here that you're going to see in the chat where you can take an email template, add your name, there's some instructions, and send off an email in support for this state ask. Now, unfortunately, tight turnaround, they're due tomorrow at the end of the day, but this public comment, it really helps the application. And so if you don't mind taking a moment and also spreading the word to your communities, we would be very, very grateful. So with that, I think I am handing it next back to Donna, because I think we're very interested too in our progress update that we've shared here with you tonight. We would love to answer any questions that you have and fill you in on what this team has been up to these past months since we last spoke with you.
Well, thanks so much. And so next slide. Great. At this point, Marangeli is going to lead our Q&A, and then we'll wrap up with Jenny sharing the closing and next steps. Marangeli?
We hold on for one moment, please. Technical difficulty with the interpreter and Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right with you.
Give us a second.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and I'm gonna have the technical difficulty. I'm the one sharing the screen. Sorry that I have to ask, do I stop the share and Jenny start sharing, or do I pin myself? My apologies.
Rosalie, you're already pinned and you can stop
Oh,
sharing screen.
Very good. So good evening, good afternoon, folks. Never a dull moment. My name is Marangeli Mejia Ravel. You guys can call me Maggie as well. And I am a Puerto Rican woman with mid-length hair, and I'm wearing black glasses with a big frame. And it's an honor to spend some time with you. So I know there's a lot of information that has been shared. In terms of the framing of our time together, I will just say that the idea is to really hear from you. And there will be, we're opening the floor. You can unmute yourself and raise your hand if you want to share a question with us. If you prefer to share it via chat, then Jenny will be working with us to share those. We will do the best that we can with the time that we have today to answer questions in detail. I also want to remind folks that the recording of this meeting, along with written responses to the questions, will be part of the follow-up for those that are not in a position to be with us today. So, can we go into the first question? Do we have anybody on the floor that would like to share a question with us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Roz, and my question is about the grant. Since it's such short turnaround, I know that very often for certain times you can get an extension on when, if that's what you guys need, on when bits and pieces of the grant request can come in. Is that a possibility? And also, is there, how often can the grant be requested throughout this whole process? Since it's going to take a few years, can this grant be requested, more than one time?
Thank you for your question, and a designated member of our team will answer that question. Kira, will you?
Kara, I'm also happy to jump in. Hi,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Raymond Smirglio here with the Rebuild team. I use he,
Thank you,
him
Raymond.
pronouns. I am a white man in a blue blazer and should probably hit the gym a little bit more as well. Yes, we are. That's a really great question, and I'm really thankful for it. So not only will we be submitting many more grant applications and fundraising requests for the Carousel House, like the one you see here, and the public comment help today is really critical to demonstrate the level of support and need that this project has. But you're absolutely right. If we don't win, for lack of a better word, this time around, we can absolutely continue to keep applying. But we feel also really confident about this particular application. We at the Rebuild team are doing everything we can to make sure that all the elected officials that help weigh in on this are aware of the level of need that we have at this particular site. And then also, I think the city has really helped prioritize this as well. So it's a good question. We will definitely keep at it. And even if we go home with all $10 million at the end of this round, we will still be asking for more because there's such a great level of need and possibility at this site. But thank you for that question.
Sure. Thank you
Raymond.
for answer.
Next question.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments that you want to share with us?
I would like to make a comment. Is that okay?
Absolutely, sir.
Awesome. I am Dan. I'm here with my colleague, Kim. We are both occupational therapists at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and we both do aquatic therapy with our patients. I am a fairly tall white male with scraggly hair and a nose ring, and my colleague, Kim, is also here. I'll let her introduce herself. Just come on, Cam.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim. I also work in aquatics here at Chalk. I have large frame glasses. I'm a female and I have dark hair.
So we joined the meeting today because we wanted to get some more insight as to what was happening with this project. Carousel House was a place that we referred a lot of our aquatic patients as a community resource. And we feel pretty strongly that it was a very valuable resource for those families and children, and just want to be as involved as we can in the process of rebuilding the space and the programming that goes on. So my main reason for commenting was just to introduce ourselves and to maybe start a connection with our department if that's something y'all are interested in, to be able to talk through some planning or ask questions, answer questions, resources, go through some of the things that we think about clinically when we're working with our patients in a therapeutic aquatic environment.
Thank you so much. We'll definitely want to make sure to stay connected and to get your contact information so you can be in our mailing list and get all the updates. Thank you so much for making the time to introduce yourselves.
Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Absolutely. Any other questions, comments?
I would like to comment. I don't have a question because, of course, this is still in the early phases, but it is very heartening to see the process, and that you all, in going about just seeking ideas and seeking the community's input, and also just providing the consistency of communication. Well, of course, we would like to see this building put together faster, but I think having patience to allow the best integration of all the needs for the community, and in particular for our community that are special needs. So to see that it's in process is very exciting. So I just think it, definitely requires patience and the continued involvement. My name is Lucretia Moy. I am African-American woman. I have, my locks are multicolored with reds and browns in them, and I wear large frame glasses as well. And I really appreciate that you all are using the language that's needed and necessary with the interpreter and giving these descriptions, and that we are starting to incorporate that as normal practice, which again is very much more inclusive. And I'm a parent of a child, well, a young adult now, so with identified needs. And so we're looking forward to, and who did partake of many of the activities at the Carousel House, the summer camps, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking forward to when it opens up, and the ability to partake of it again. So I'm looking forward, and it is appreciated.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Know that it's really, really appreciated. And I understand that Roseanne has a comment that even though it was shared via chat, she would like to share with us as well. Roseanne, I believe you're mute.
I'm mute, yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
The timeline of the possible opening in 2020, my name is Roseanne Curlin. I'm with the Katie Curlin Fund and Katie's Comets wheelchair basketball team. The timeline of the possible opening in 2025 is very disappointing. In August of 2021, we had a meeting with Catherine Ott Lovell, Councilman Curtis Jones, members of the Carousel House Advisory Committee, and several disabled athletes. We were told then that it would probably be about 18 months for a new house. Well, it's well over a year now, and it looks like it's going to be at least another 3. People make it sound like every program that was at the Carousel House is working out fine in other places. This is not the case, especially for Katie's Comets wheelchair basketball team. They're over at Riverwinds in New Jersey, where Katie Curlin Fund pays a fee, And sometimes we're able to get the Palabano Rec Center in the Northeast, but we have to share that with the community, and they have a pretty busy schedule there. And there's also no storage for the players, extra chairs. They have their regular chairs and their basketball chairs. So there's no storage, which means every week they have to bring both with them. There's very little parking. They come with their parents and handicap vans. So I just need to make it known that things are not going that well. The Department of Rec makes it sound like everything's good since they closed the house, and it's not. And people need to realize that. I know you're part of the rebuild program and you want to make the new house great, but it's been a terrible disappointment to the disabled community. And I know the summer programs at the Gustine Rec Center did not go well at all. I do talk with a lot of the Carousel House Advisory Committee. So I'm not happy. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roseanne. And I want to give an opportunity to a member of the team that would like to comment. We
Sure.
also have a raised hand. So I want to, before we take the next question, if somebody would like to, you know, just comment on Roseanne's feedback and commentary.
I just want to say thank you. We appreciate the feedback, and we work closely with Parks and Rec, and you know, certainly want to make sure that the facilities and accommodations there meet the needs as best that they can. And we do feel the urgency to move this project along as quickly as possible. And I apologize, I should have said Kira Strong. And so we do appreciate the feedback. And we certainly share the sense of urgency. So thank you.
Thank you, Kira. So we have, does anybody else want to add anything? Thank you, Kira, so much. Anybody from PPR? All right. So
I think, Bill, were you I saw your, I didn't know if you were on mute or not. I know, I will say we did receive feedback. I was just going to address summer programs, summer camp. We did receive feedback from members of the community, and we did address that feedback. And you know, we did have, unfortunately, a driver go out with COVID, and it was unfortunate. And so we did put some pieces in place, and we will continue to receive any and all feedback on the Gustine programming. And we thank you for it, because it's helping us improve things, you know, ideally for fall programming, and definitely, you know, for next summer. So thank you for that. I didn't know if Bill, you wanted to add anything or not.
quick note before we pass to Bill, in case that he wants to add something. Grace, can you do the intro?
Oh, I am so sorry. I am so rude. Grace Cannon, Parks and Rec. I'm a white woman. I have sort of curly brown hair, and I am sitting at home tonight in a printed shirt. So I apologize for not introducing myself. Thank you for the reminder, Maggie.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you. So I know that, yep. Grace mentioned Bill. I'm ready to move on. Let us know if you have any comments. If not, we have a raised hand. Thank you, Samantha, for your patience. We'll get right with you. Bill, you're muted.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Bill.
We can't hear you. It says he's over, yeah.
Maybe you can do in the chat. But
Yeah, I think it has to do with where he first joined the call. He might have not done it with audio. Yep. All right, so we're gonna hear, Bill is gonna share with us via chat, and I'm gonna move to Samantha. You can unmute yourself, talk to us. How are you today? Thank you for your patience.
Samantha, and
I'm having a little bit of difficulty hearing you. Can you hear us, Samantha?
Samantha's having some connectivity issues.
Yeah, Samantha, there's something with your audio that it's not. Could you, and I hear a couple of other folks on the chat, I'm reading here. Samantha, if you don't mind, and we apologize for the inconvenience, but technology tends to be tricky. If you can share your question and your comment via chat, that will be greatly appreciated. We have somebody, Patrick Morgan, who's telling us that he's having a similar issue. So while we work out, and Samantha and Patrick share with us via chat, anybody else, any other questions on the floor? Or comments? Anybody who would like to add to what has been shared?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mike Martin. I'm an advisory council for Carousel House. I'm the treasurer. I would like to echo Roseanne's comments about the time frame. I've been in construction for over 40 years. Nobody builds a building on time. I understand that. But given that 4 years will soon stretch into 5, and we'll lose a generation of disabled kids in what we try to reach out to. We'll lose a generation in that period of time. Now, being that we've already stepped down that path, and there doesn't seem to be any turning back, when will we see the final design? Question 1. And number 2, please, no more Zoom venue. It just doesn't work for most of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is well taken. The timeline was shared. I believe that based on the time, Jenny, I don't know if you want to bring the slide up again, or if we're just going to put, direct people to the website for the chat. Yeah. Okay. So, sir, the idea of the sharing of the final design is step number 4 on the timeline. And this will definitely be done in person if we're in a position to do so.
Mary Angeli, may I add a comment?
Absolutely.
This is Kira Strong again. Mike, I would say we also would really like to bring a draft design to stakeholders as well. So not just, hey, we wrapped it up, we're done, but our next step, along with the fundraising and understanding what we can afford, is to then show you, hey, with this budget, here's everything we think we can do. And, Digsaw would be back in their team as well, and to show you what, all stakeholders, what that could look like. So we absolutely would bring that draft back to you.
Thank you so much for that, Kira. Really appreciate it. It is part, sir, my apologies. Ms. Strong is absolutely right. That is embedded into the timeline for all rebuild projects, to present a draft of the design and have a community engagement opportunity around that, just to make sure that the design, that we're getting it right for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Again, great catch. Anybody else? Any other questions?
This is Kira again, Mary Angeli. I'm looking at Samantha's comment in the chat. And I think our rebuild team could chime in a little on that.
Absolutely, feel free, please.
Okay. So thank you, Samantha. Hopefully you can hear us, and we're happy to circle back in chat or otherwise, if not. Noted on the therapeutic temperature. Thank you. It's an excellent reminder. And we are absolutely happy to report back on accessibility improvements in the sites that we complete. So ADA accessibility generally is part of any project that we are doing if we're addressing that scope, but we can get an itemized list to you of what has been completed so far. And then obviously, as we complete more projects, we can share more as we go. So not a problem at all. And obviously, any
Here-
folks from my team, please chime in.
Can I add on that? Hi, this is Amanda speaking again. Hey, Samantha. Just want to shout out that we also have some newer members to the Rebuild team who are on the call. Michelle Schulman. Hey, Michelle. Little wave. Has joined as our director of design, and with having some new rebuilders on, being able to go back through the sites that have been completed to examine those plans. I mean, there's definitely sites where you can walk on and see very visibly what's there with play equipment, but there are other features that have been added in. So I know Michelle is excited to be working to help compile that, and we'll definitely be pushing that out through community engagement with everyone who we have contacts for as soon as it's ready.
Thank you so very much, Amanda. And thank you everybody for participating and for sharing your comments and those key considerations that are gonna inform our next steps. I'm gonna pass it back to Jenny, and it's been an honor to share some space with you. And I'm gonna pass it up to Jenny for follow-up on next steps. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Marangeli. I did want to just make sure we address this last question in the chat about how the new mayor in 2024 might impact this project, if Kira wants to address that.
Sure, not a problem. This is Kira again. Absolutely not. Our goal is to, I think we have broad support, as I mentioned earlier, across council districts, certainly across you all as stakeholders. And we know you have very strong support for the vision of this project. And we intend to be well along with this project that I frankly don't see or understand how a different administration would really be able to roll that back, nor personal opinion here, but nor would it behoove them to do so for sure. So we do not anticipate that.
Great, thank you, Kira. All right, so I just want to say thank you all again so much for being here tonight, taking the time to stay involved in this process. And I wanted to share some next steps before we close and say goodbye. So first, if you or anyone you know has not been receiving our newsletter updates, please encourage them to sign up at the link that is on the screen, and that will be put in the chat. And next week, we'll share a recording of this meeting along with their presentation slides for you and for those who couldn't make it tonight. And we'll do the same thing with those RACP support letter links that we also shared earlier this evening. We'll actually share those out before tomorrow, so you'll have some time to get those support letters, and thank you so much for that. We hope that you all join us for our next engagement happening later this fall or winter as we progress with the design and fundraising. And like Marangeli and Kira mentioned, we'll have draft designs to show for you all so we can get your feedback and make sure we're on the right path. So please do stay in touch with Rebuild and my team. On the screen are email addresses for Amanda, who you heard from earlier tonight, as well as Donna and myself. And we'll make sure those are in the chat as well. So thank you again so much for being part of this meeting, for listening to this project update. If you'd like, I welcome you all to come off mute briefly or use the chat just so we can all say goodbye to each other. So thanks and have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.